Erling Haaland equaling the record Alan Shearer and Andy Cole had for such a long period of time, even though it's different games, different extended period of games that they had and the luxury that they had. Erling Haaland might be one of the best additions to the Premier League that I've ever seen. What are your thoughts overall on him equaling this record and probably going to smash this record?
Erling Haaland is bloody cheat mode. He is cheat mode. He's when you create a character on any of those games that you play, whether it's an NBA game or NFL game or a football game, and all he scores are 99, 99, 99. Like, he is super cheat mode. You don't get players like that. That's the scary thing. He is big, physical presence, can hold the ball, great football brain, great football intelligence. He is a natural born finisher, whether you like it or not. And he is super athletically gifted. He is everything in one, and it's just impossible. And what I like about him as well is he's so aggressive aerially as well. He's aggressive in the end, wants to use his capabilities. You can't stop him. You cannot stop him unless you really take him out or do something not so nice to him. But he's phenomenal. Like, he really is. And I have to agree. I think he is probably the one foreign player I've seen that's had the biggest impact on the Premier League. When I mean he's taken to the Premier League, like duck, how do you say? What's the saying again? Is it duck to water?
Water off a duck's back.
Water off a duck's back. That is what Erling Haaland has done. Just super cheap mode.
Or a duck to water.
Yeah, duck to water. Whatever.
You know what he reminds me of, though? If I was to like sort of mold him together into multiple players, obviously Alan Shearer was one of my favorite finishers that was in the Premier League all time. Alan Shearer, you got to see him up close in hand. You know, obviously as we were growing up watching him, he was a goal scorer, proper goal scorer. Thierry Henry with his pace, being able to get him behind, the way he'd sometimes just like make these runs off the ball, and just that finishing ability from both Henry and Shearer sort of mixed together. And you mentioned the aggression and also the flexibility and how crazy he is. Reminds me a bit of Zlatan. So it's sort of like all those sort of mixed into one human being in the way that he's performing. He's fun to watch. I watched him do it in the Bundesliga for so long as well. Nigel, go ahead.
Read that comment out from Ed. That's real talk right there, because we don't give him a lot of credit. Whenever you talk about Premier League greats, not many people give the flowers to Andy Cole. 34 goals with no pens. Obviously, Haaland's broke that record, but 34 with no pens. You got to give credit to that. When it comes to goal-to-goal ratios, goal-to-games ratio, that is a phenomenal achievement there by the great Andy Cole.
Yeah, but you got to admit that he'll probably have about 40 goals this year, Erling Haaland, by the time.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing
34.
100%. I'm not disputing what he's done, but at the same time, for goals-to-game ratio, you got to give credit for a Premier League legend that doesn't get mentioned a lot when it comes to goals in the Premier League.
I was there when Andy Cole made his debut for Manchester United. How weird that transfer was. I was there at that game when he made his debut, and just watching Andy Cole just settle in. And obviously what he did at Newcastle was phenomenal. I love to watch him in Newcastle, but just the transition to Manchester United and making it a success there was awesome to watch. Is there any time in your life when you were playing, this is a personal question, that you were on the field and you just looked around? And it's happened to me many a time when I've played some big teams, and I've looked around at certain players and I've just gone, he's on another level. He's just on another planet. You must have been in a game at some point when somebody scored a couple, or maybe someone's run past and you've got, oh my God, this guy's just on another level.
Do you know what? For me, Ian, I was very competitive, and I think that my mindset was different. And it's as you say, you know what? We're cut from a different cloth. You know, they don't make them like us anymore, Ian. So I wanted to compete. Yep. I admired them. There was respect there, but I wasn't going to be there to be a punching bag and be another fan. Like, I had a job to do as well. But there's some players that you played against, you're just like, yeah, I can see why they're so highly. Like, for me, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, every time we played against them, they were just a different level. Like, Paul Scholes' ability was just sensational. You know, and when people talk about great players, when some of the Brazilians you talk about the legendary Brazilians, like the Ronaldos and all them lot, they always used to say, if any player could get in their team, it would be Paul Scholes. Even the Spanish as well used to say, if any English player, because English players weren't highly regarded, but when you're on the pitch with him and you're playing in centre midfield, it's just sensational. And even like Frank Lampard, you give him credit because all those goals he got, he was sensational. Frank would never get involved in the play. He would always be on your shoulder. That one time you think you've got him and you blink and that pass he's made and he makes that third man run, it's a goal. And, you know, Didier Drogba, Alan Shearer, you know, Robert Pires, like people like Pires was just sensational. There's so many, but I admired them. But I saw why they were so highly regarded and highly rated and considered as top players.
Yeah, I remember when I was obviously coming through. I was still a youngster at the time, playing in Germany, and Mehmet Shaw was one of my favorite players. You know, watching just the way he was like an artist in the midfield for Bayern Munich. But
Yeah.
they had a young Bastian Schweinsteiger, they had a
Oh,
young Lucas Podolski, and Lucas Podolski put me on my back one time, and I just thought I actually got up and clapped because I thought there's nothing I could have done about that. I was trying my best to defend him, and you have to admire that some players just have technical and natural gifted ability to be able to make you look stupid at times. And all you can do is, like, we have that, obviously, that mentality of never giving up. You
yeah.
applaud it, you get back up, and you make sure you do your best the next time. It's hard to obviously take sometimes.
1,000%. You're so right. And it's the natural ability. I think the players that we talk about, these are not footballing abilities that was coached into them. These are abilities that they've got from whether it was playing in the streets, playing in different places. That's how they get these abilities. Most of these kids grow up in concrete jungles. Like most of the talent comes out of South London. They play in those five-a-side domes, the little mini pitches, bouncing the ball off the wall. You learn different type of techniques that work with you that you can't teach that into a child. And like you said, there another player that I remember playing against was Modric. His first touch is bloody sensational. People don't realize how good Modric's first touch is in tight areas and how comfortable he is. Don't let his frame fool you that this guy's lightweight. You can put him on his ass. Touch, go, move. Like, where's he gone? Like, sensational, man. And then do you remember? I know you remember. Remember Pirlo? I remember playing against Pirlo when he was at NYCFC, and it was just, I'm like, this is fucking Pirlo. This guy could literally play a game with a cigar in his mouth and just go, give me a ball. Bing, bing.